Tonight, more calls for Ottawa to eliminate trade barriers with China. The Sask NDP reveal an idea to keep young people in the province. And recognizing acts of bravery from Saskatchewan residents.
Live from our studios in Regina, this is CTV News.
Good evening. Farmers in Saskatchewan are hoping the federal government can quickly remove trade barriers to try and get canola flowing to China once again. As Keenan Sorkon tells us, getting canola out of Saskatchewan isn't as straightforward as it seems.
Harvest is wrapped up in many parts of the province, but farmers are still waiting for meaningful updates on Chinese canola tariffs.
It's just not as easy as a stroke of pen to get rid of them, but we are frustrated with the lack of support.
Canola prices have seen a sharp drop since China announced a tariff on all canola products this summer, a further response to Canada's tariff on electric vehicles last year. And it's creating even more unease this time of year for an industry surrounded by uncertainty.
And this is the first year in 55 years that I've farmed that we have never sold a bushel of canola off the combine.
Last week, the Chinese ambassador to Canada said China would lift its tariffs on canola if Canada did the same to its EV tariffs. Prime Minister Mark Carney has been non-committal as he weighs potential impacts with Canada's relationship with the United States and Ontario's auto sector, along with the canola industry out west.
It's almost like being in an episode of the movie Hunger Games.
With supply chain issues galore and political pressure and protectionism, there's no easy decision for the Prime Minister.
In this situation, it's hard to identify if there's a path that would make all parties reasonably satisfied.
SARM is calling for an end to trade barriers to restore China as a market, but Huber is heading to Ottawa to meet with the federal agriculture minister next week before things get worse.
Producers are hesitant to sell in a market that doesn't meet their cost of production.
With bins remaining full for the time being, patience is fading. Keenan Sorkon, CTV News, Saskatoon.
There are renewed calls today for rent control in Saskatchewan. As local advocates held a rally to end poverty, the NDP opposition is promising to bring forward a private members bill this fall. But as Wayne Mantika reports, the government fears rent control may do more harm than good.
The Regina rally coincided with the United Nations Day for the Eradication of Poverty. Some of the participants came from a nearby conference at Knox Met Church, which examined the plight of those living below the poverty line. This man has a family member receiving said benefits.
So yes, they are offering them more money. They are giving them more money. So in that regard, they're telling the truth, but they're not telling you the whole truth that there's actually no more money going to the client themselves. Now, over the last 10 years, they've received $45 more. Go to the grocery store and tell me what you're buying for $45.
The rally included a call for provincial government action to improve benefits, an increase in the minimum wage, and implementation of rent control.
We've had the highest rental increases in the country in recent years. Tenants obviously need protection, and governments have a responsibility to make sure that the rights of low-income tenants are protected.
BC, Manitoba, Ontario, and PEI currently have rent control measures. The NDP opposition again pledged a private members bill on rent control during the upcoming fall sitting of the legislature.
I think it's important that Saskatchewan, the rents are rapidly increasing. There's no limit on what landlords can charge and how much they can increase the rent by. And it's just, I think it's driving the homelessness crisis as well.
The Saskatchewan government believes rent controls can do more harm than good. It says it discourages construction and leads to shortages wherever it has been tried. Wayne Mantika, CTV News, Regina.
A 54-year-old man from Swift Current is facing second-degree murder charges after an incident in August. Early in the morning on August the 8th, RCMP received a report of an injured man at a residence on 1st Avenue Northwest in Swift Current. The man was taken to hospital, where he later died. The victim, identified as 29-year-old Matthew Neufeld from Swift Current. After a 2-month investigation, RCMP have charged 54-year-old Christopher Sean Foster. He made his first court appearance in Regina today. A Saskatoon jury has found Roderick Sutherland guilty on all counts late this afternoon. The jurors delivered the verdict, finding Sutherland guilty of manslaughter, unlawful confinement, and offering an indignity to human remains in the death of 30-year-old Megan Gallagher. Court heard Gallagher died inside Sutherland's Saskatoon garage while she was tied to a chair. The jury deliberated for 2 days before reaching its decision. Inside the courtroom, Gallagher's family wept as the first guilty verdict was read, holding each other and crying as the remaining two followed. Sentencing will be the next step in this case. Saskatchewan Polytechnic is revealing more information about its recent job cuts. The post-secondary institution says it has issued 87 layoff notices to 87 full-time and part-time employees over the past few months. It says that it includes faculty and professional service employees. It says 14 out-of-scope employees were laid off over the summer and that 71 vacant positions have not been filled. Sask Polytechnic says it has been facing a substantial revenue shortfall after seeing a 40% drop in international students enrolling in its programs. Last year, the federal government put a 2-year cap on international students studying in Canada as a way to ease the strain on housing, healthcare, and other services. Well, specially trained nurses are being added to the team that will answer 911 calls. The Saskatchewan Health Authority is launching a new emergency communication nurse system in Saskatoon and Regina. The program will see 911 dispatchers transfer callers with non-urgent symptoms to nurses for further assessment. The nurses will then determine if the person needs emergency care or if another care option is better suited to them. It's hoped the program can help free up paramedics to respond to situations that require immediate help. Over time, the goal is also to ease the overcapacity issues at emergency departments. Saskatchewan NDP wants to know why some people are choosing to leave Saskatchewan. The NDP say 52,000 people have moved out since 2018. The opposition plans to meet with employers, unions, and students to find out what's driving people out.
So we can see people face to face from different work areas and we can get their thoughts about that. And that will be really helpful for us to get a good and clear picture.
Now, there has been a steady increase of people entering the province, with new residents outpacing those leaving by 4 to 1. Saskatchewan's population has grown by 166,000 people since 2018. Joins us for our first look at weather and all those 188 new people in Saskatchewan. Cole, want to know what the weather's going to be like on the weekend.
Well, overall, not too bad, at least for Saturday. On Sunday, we could see a little bit of precipitation across a good chunk of the province, particularly into Sunday night. But we'll take a closer look at that in your full forecast. In the meantime, a little bit of precipitation marching its way through southwestern Saskatchewan, mostly rainfall, but also little pockets of possible flurries in parts of the far southwest into tonight. As we take a closer look at that, so far, that is as far as that rainfall is getting. Some parts of south central Saskatchewan could be looking at some very scattered showers. Here's a look at current temperatures around the province. Most areas hovering around that 11-12 degree mark. A bit cooler towards Swift Current. And oh, hey, look at that. Live to the minute. Weather information. Swift Current just went down to 8, 9 in Rockland, 3 in East End Cypress, and that's where those pockets of flurries are popping up. Almanac for today in Regina, high of 12.5 degrees. We shattered the expected high today with a low of 5.6, so a little bit above seasonal. I'll have more details coming up in your full forecast, Lee.
Thank you very much, Cole. The Royal Canadian Humane Association handed out its annual Bravery Awards at Government House on Friday. Jacob Carr has the details on some of the heroic acts that were done by ordinary people.
Saskatchewan's Lieutenant Governor Bernadette McIntyre was on hand at Government House to present Bravery Awards for deeds of heroism.
These are people who came upon a situation for the most part and had to take action on a moment's notice to save someone else's life. So there are the pinnacle of almost giving their lives to save another life.
Donna Davies of the RCMP received an award for a water rescue back in 2023 when she and 2 other RCMP members saved a mentally ill man from drowning at Last Mountain Lake.
I feel very honored. Again, this is something that I just showed up to do on my day-to-day job, and it's not something that I expect to receive. However, I'm certainly honored and appreciative of the award.
Will Rodwin was recognized for rescuing a civilian from a burning vehicle in August of 2022 near Guernsey. Rodwin's experience as a volunteer firefighter helped him in knowing how to handle the situation.
Kind of knew what I was walking into, but again, I mean, no tools, no safety equipment, no nothing like that, and to me it was just get him out of there, because I'd rather save a life than sit there and watch somebody burn.
Mark Dimterko's rescue attempt unfortunately did not have a happy ending. In October of 2024, he came across a vehicle that had slid off the highway near Langham and into a slough. There was an unresponsive person in the front seat who Dimterko and another citizen attempted to save, but were ultimately unsuccessful.
And we did what we could to try and get them out. So, I mean, I can live with that. But to me, I've seen it and watched it just go down and done nothing. I don't know that I'd, be comfortable living with that.
A common thread among those honored, not thinking twice about risking their lives to try and save another. Jacob Carr, CTV News, Regina.
A new scanner at the University of Saskatchewan is helping researchers learn why some bones are more fragile than others. As Stacey Hine tells us, the hope is that the findings will lead to earlier interventions and, of course, stronger bones.
This scanner at the University of Saskatchewan is helping researchers learn more about children's bone strength. It's being used in the Canadian Bone Strength Development Study, a national project looking at how bones grow differently in children with and without type 1 diabetes.
To scan the participant, we usually open this gauge.
Ali Razay, a kinesiology PhD candidate, works closely with the young participants.
Generally, first of all, they are so curious about the machine. I explain the machine to them, and after that they feel comfortable, and then they just need to sit still for 2 minutes.
Those couple of minutes produce detailed images of the bones and their structure. Engineers then turn that data into a digital model to test bone strength.
Basically, we can see how strong your bone is based on the images from your bone.
The project brings together experts from the College of Kinesiology, Medicine, and Engineering in an effort to better understand how to build stronger bones.
When we know more about how their bones are growing, we can develop those interventions to optimize it.
Researchers hope the results will lead to earlier interventions, boosting bone strength and improving quality of life well into adulthood. Stacey Hine, CTV News, Saskatoon.
Saskatchewan's largest local-owned brewery is marking its 35th year with a bit of a big expansion.
This was absolutely more about the city of Saskatoon, the province of Saskatchewan, and producing a great product that is world-class, that's been given numerous awards over the years, and we're so proud of it. And this facility that you're going to see when you walk into it, it's something to behold.
Officials with the Great Western Brewery Company cut the ribbon on the 11,000 square foot brew house to be added to the company's existing facility. The $25 million expansion is expected to produce 550,000 hectoliters of beer annually and be operational by early next year. In their 55-year history, the Snowbirds have put on more than 2,000 shows, thrilling crowds with their acrobatic performances. Before wrapping up the season, though, they had one more show for a special. Mick Favel tells us more.
One last flight for the 2025 Snowbirds. Friends and family gathered to watch the private show at the Snowbirds' home base, 15-wing Moose Jaw, bringing a thrilling conclusion to the Birds' season.
It was a very jam-packed schedule. We had a lot of shows in the U.S. as well. So yeah, I think incredibly proud of this season. We basically got to go to every show that we planned for, and the weather was very fortunate. I think we might have only missed one show out of the entire summer due to weather.
The day began with an investiture ceremony naming Chief Evan Tapotat of Kakawishtahoe First Nation as the new honorary colonel of the squadron. Last weekend, the Snowbirds were scheduled to be the opening act at an air show in California, but due to U.S. military aircraft being grounded because of the federal government shutdown, the Snowbirds became the headliners.
We were scheduled to be there since December, so we were ready to be there. We were just stepping up to the plate, just despite the circumstances, but we were more than happy to do it, and we're just glad to be able to perform nonetheless.
Captain Katie Clapp has been a Snowbird for 3 years. This is her final flight as a member. She says living up to past members is a common goal of the Snowbirds, and she hopes to leave a lasting impact for the ones yet to come.
Trying your best every single time, accepting errors, and then making it better as quickly as possible so you're not the one letting people down. You want to uphold the Snowbird name and what that means to yourself, to your teammates, and all of Canada, really.
Although the Snowbirds season is now over, their off-season isn't like most. Captain Plant says right now the team is the best they've been all season, but it will soon be time to begin again. Planning for next year and forming the next team will begin in 2 weeks. Mick Favel, CTV News, Moose Jaw.
Still ahead, Ottawa announces more patrol officers to keep our international borders safe. And why a comment by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre has the RCMP defending themselves.
Your morning just got a little brighter. Start your day with CTV Your Morning, and you could win $20,000. For your chance to win, watch CTV Your Morning Saskatchewan, weekday mornings 6 to 9.
Mark Carney announced plans to beef up the border today, stating Canadians must look out for ourselves in a dangerous and divided world. Among other things, the Prime Minister pledged to hire 1,000 new border officers with the aim of cracking down on illegal drugs and guns. Judy Trin has more on the border plan and the pre-budget spending promise.
But we also have a slew of other prohibited devices.
Examples of illegal weapons seized at the Niagara Falls border crossing. To thwart growing threats, the Liberal government is funding more border security agents.
During the election campaign, we were clear that our borders had to be secure so everyone in Canada can feel safe, and we promised to hire 1,000 new CBSA officers to bolster our border protection efforts.
The upcoming budget will allocate $617 million to recruit 1,000 CBSA officers over the next 5 years, a pledge made by Mark Carney while campaigning to be Prime Minister.
So how many of those boots are going to be on the ground? Are we actually waiting for the budget for this funding to come through? Because we haven't had a budget. It comes in November. So there are actually more questions than answers that we got from the minister's announcement today.
A focus will be on hiring special analysts who can identify suspects connected to organized crime, human smuggling, immigration fraud, and terrorism.
It's very promising. We have to start somewhere. It's something we've been asking for a long time. Our members will be really happy to hear that this is going to come about.
The union representing border guards says the challenges include a need to expand training facilities and provide more equipment like these X-ray machines to agents so they can do more searches.
We don't really examine rail. We examine less than 1%. We have land borders, airports, which really overuse students, where we need to get officers in those positions. It's really across the board.
Hiring these new CBSA officers are measures on top of the $1.3 billion border security plan announced last year by the Liberals under Justin Trudeau. Judy Trin, CTV News, Ottawa.
The RCMP is denying allegations of political interference lobbed by Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre. In an interview that was posted online, Poilievre accused the Mounties of shielding former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau from criminal charges, even calling the force's leadership, quote, despicable. Abigail Billman tells us more about the accusations of a cover-up and the blowback.
Many of the scandals of the Trudeau era should have been involved jail time.
In an interview posted to YouTube, the Conservative leader ripped into his former House of Commons opponent for the 2019 SNC-Lavalin affair and Justin Trudeau's 2016 family vacation on the Aga Khan's private island, as well as how the RCMP handled the cases.
The RCMP covered it all up, and the leadership of the RCMP is just, frankly, just despicable when it comes to enforcing laws against the Liberal government.
There's no interference. I don't take any orders from any political individual.
When the RCMP's top cop rejected cover-up claims,
I would invite Mr. Polyev to meet with us and to meet with the people who run this great organization.
Pierre Polyev said he would accept the invitation and double down.
If the RCMP commissioner is now saying that he wants to open that investigation, we're prepared to hand over all the evidence of Mr. Trudeau's criminal code violations.
In this case, the opposition leader is going a bit too far.
This political strategist says there is room to challenge and critique, but to win new voters, Polyev may want to adopt a more moderate approach to complex issues like the state of the RCMP.
Pierre Polyev thinks people are fired up about Justin Trudeau. He and his caucus are fired up about Justin Trudeau, but I think the public has moved on.
And to recap from the prior government, the ethics commissioner did find Prime Minister Trudeau broke the rules in both cases, but the RCMP said there wasn't enough evidence for a criminal offense in the SNC case. And in the case of the near-decade-old vacation, even though long pressed by the Conservatives, the RCMP said it couldn't productively pursue a criminal investigation. Abigail Beeman, CTV News, Ottawa.
An inquiry into the deadly Columbia Icefield tour bus rollover began today. The bus lost control on a road leading to the Athabasca Glacier in Jasper in July 2020. It rolled about 50 meters before coming to a stop on its roof. 3 people were killed, 14 were seriously hurt. RCMP did not lay criminal charges, but bus operator Brewster Inc. pleaded guilty to 2 occupational health and safety charges. A justice is expected to hear about brake inspections and maintenance of the bus during the fatality inquiry. While the inquiry cannot assign blame, it will make recommendations to prevent similar deaths. In Washington, U.S. President Donald Trump hosted Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky at the White House, where the Russia-Ukraine war was clearly at the top of the agenda. Trump greeted Zelensky as he arrived at the White House entrance. Trump already signaled he may not be willing to sell Ukraine long-range Tomahawk missiles. Today's meeting follows a lengthy phone call Trump had with Russian President Vladimir Putin on Thursday.
We need Tomahawks, and we need a lot of other things that we've been sending over the last 4 years to Ukraine. We've been, we gave them a lot. Now we have a different situation. We send it to the European Union. They pay for it and all that, and they have plenty of money. But it's beyond the money. We need Tomahawks, and we need a lot of other weapons that we're sending to Ukraine. One of the reasons we want to get this war over is exactly that.
Today marks the 4th face-to-face meeting for Trump and Zelensky this year. Trump will also hold an in-person meeting with Putin in Hungary to discuss ways to end the war. NATO. In the United Kingdom, Prince Andrew has announced he is giving up his royal title of the Duke of York and other honors. Andrew says he and a royal family decided that the continued accusations against him distract from his duties. Excerpts have been published of an upcoming memoir from Virginia Roberts Gifford. She alleges she was trafficked by the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein and had sex with Prince Andrew when she was 17. Andrew stepped away from public life in 2019 but denied wrongdoing. Today, he said he denies the accusations against him. Andrew will remain a prince, which he has been entitled to since birth. King Charles will do something next week not seen since the Reformation. The monarch will pray with the Pope at the Sistine Chapel. That'll happen on Thursday. It is seen as a historic step towards unity between the Church of England and the Catholic Church. The service will focus on the protection of nature in recognition of the King's support of environmental causes. The state visit will also feature a series of meetings and services emphasizing the warm relations between the two churches. And music fans are mourning the death of rock legend Ace Frehley. Frehley family said he died Thursday at age 74 in New Jersey following a recent fall at his home. He co-founded KISS in 1973 and became famous for his spaceman persona. He left the group in the early 1980s but went on to launch a successful solo career. In 2014, he was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame with KISS. Band members Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley say they are devastated by his passing. Coming up, a longtime model train club in Ontario is hoping to attract the next generation of rail enthusiasts.
The Riders are preparing for the playoffs. Monday on Your Morning, CEO Craig Reynolds on signing leadership to extensions and the postseason fan experience.
All right, time now for a look at your full forecast. There was a flock of seagulls circling on the Skycam earlier, but they ran so far away. Here's a look at your current temperature in Regina tonight as I almost go too far off the screen. Looking at 9 at the moment. Winds out of the west-northwest at 24 kilometers per hour. That's about the same temperature that most of the Rider game in Winnipeg is going to be tonight as well. That just getting underway. Here's a look at your radar and satellite picture over the course of the day. A little bit of scattered precipitation making its way into west central and southwestern Saskatchewan. Some of it even coming in the form of some flurries right in this corner. So we're going to see that system continue to move through a little bit of Saskatchewan. It'll actually mostly move southward out, and we're not looking at a huge amount of precipitation for any areas that are getting any of that green or some of that potential snowfall. You can see that the Wynyard area could be looking at some scattered showers over the next couple of days. By the time we get into Saturday night, though, going to be nice and clear, hardly a cloud in sight. They're all going to move over into Manitoba. We'll see them later. And by later, I mean by into Sunday morning, Sunday evening rather. That's where things could potentially shift a little bit for us. You can see up in Saskatoon, Wynyard regions, as well as Lloydminster will jump all the way out of the way. You can see that wide band of rainfall and some snowfall as well for the Lloydminster area. Moving further on into Monday morning, you can see that that system is going to bring a little bit of flurry activity to the Saskatoon and Wynyard area, as well as Lloydminster along Highway 16. Not going to go any further south than that, at least based on what we're looking at right now. But if you do have any travel plans to Lloydminster, Saskatoon, Wynyard, any places like that, just keep an eye on that highway hotline in case things get a little bit hairy. Here's a look at tonight and tomorrow in La Loche, looking at 1 degree, 9 for tomorrow, the high. La Ronge up to 8 tomorrow with a bit of cloud cover. Lloydminster up to 12, nice and sunny, and that is the larger story as we move south. Same thing for Prince Albert, high of 12. Moving into North Battleford, Saskatoon, and Yorkton, looking at 12, 11, and 10 in a nice little countdown across the board for tomorrow's highs. A bit more cloud expected for the Yorkton region, sunnier elsewhere. Maple Creek, Swift Current, and Moose Jaw. Maple Creek and Swift Current down to 1 degree tonight. That's where we're looking at some of that rainfall and snowfall tonight as well. Maple Creek looking at a high of 12 tomorrow. Same goes for Moose Jaw. Swift Current 11. Moving over to the southeastern corner of the province, down to 1 degree in Assiniboia tonight. Possibility of some rain showers as well as some possible flurries, but they shouldn't be too long lasting. Weyburn looking at a high of 12 tomorrow. Same goes for Estevan. Assiniboia looking at a high of 11 with a mix of sun and cloud. So anything that does fall tonight, don't expect it to stick around. Regina looking at a low of 3 tonight. Winds out of the southeast between 10 and 35 kilometers per hour. Tomorrow, a high of 10, nice and sunny. Winds out of the northwest between 10 and 20 kilometers per hour. Those winds could pick up a little bit over the course of the day, depending on how that system cooperates. Riders on the road, we do have a little bit of a look here at some of the temperatures. 11 for kickoff, then as we mentioned, by the end of the game, going to be down to about 9 degrees. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. Again, Regina Pats are in action tomorrow for their cancer awareness game against the Brandon Wheat Kings with a high of 10, low of -2. On Sunday, getting up to about 11 degrees with a low of +2. For Monday, high of 6 and a low of -2. So temperatures do cool off a little bit for us to start next week, but they will rebound through Tuesday, Wednesday, and into Thursday. But in terms of the start to your work week, it may not be your favorite Monday of all time. Looking at Tuesday again, though, high of 10, so that's something to look forward to. Same thing with Wednesday into 11 and 10 on Thursday as well. Wind speeds calming down after this weekend as well. So overall, not too bad of a weekend, but do be prepared for some possible rainfall into Sunday night and early Monday morning. And that's mostly what we're monitoring heading into the weekend, Lee.
Flock of seagulls, huh?
Did you like it? Did it land? The seagulls may have.
It's still flying.
We got to entertain ourselves somehow.
All right. Thanks, Cole.
You bet.
An Ontario Model Railroad Club celebrating a pretty big anniversary. Club has been around for decades, based near London, Ontario, with several longtime members. But as CTV Sean Irving reports, attracting a new generation of train lovers has proven difficult.
This sight and sounds of trains moving down the track are met with delight. These HO model engines and cars are running on more than 500 feet of track inside the built-to-suit home of the Thames Valley Central Model Railroad Club. For folks in the Thorndale area, its existence is likely nothing new. But after 60 years of full steam ahead, the club is suddenly off track with the public.
One of the comments was, didn't know this was here. So it's been here since '98.
At this location, the club itself dates back 60 years. 25 members with an average age of 65 maintain everything you see here.
You can run here a couple of days in a row and never do the same job twice. So for me, that's the fun of the hobby for me.
But as time advances, the club is having trouble bringing in new faces. Turns out in the digital age, it's hard to break the train of thought of young people. Nick Brio, a member for 11 years, tried to involve his grandchildren.
I brought them out a few times. They loved it, but now they're getting into these digital games on their computer and tablet.
What is lost to those who opt out is the complexity of this network. Technology has advanced to the point that each train can be controlled hands-free. Some engines even respond to more than 500 commands.
It's a lot of challenges to run trains on there, and it's fun also.
It's been 6 decades of fun for this founding member. He never lost his lifelong love of model trains. For him, this railway paradise offers a return to childhood at any age.
Just takes your focus from the real world down to the miniature.
And it is here, in this place, members say these sights and sounds have the power to put you back on track.
There are many, many things in here that normally people won't even see. But we see them because we shrink ourselves down to that size.
The club is open to the public most Tuesday evenings. A link to its activities is on our app and website now. In Thorndale, Sean Irvin, CTV News.
Still ahead, can quarterback Jake Mayer lead the Riders to a season sweep of the Bombers in Winnipeg tonight?
Wardrobe consideration in part by Colin O'Brien Men's Shop.
It's been a long time since a game in Winnipeg meant nothing in the standings for the Riders, but with a bye hosting a Western Final already guaranteed, tonight's game was about resting starters and giving some of the backups more opportunities.
Always dangerous on the return as he gets it to the 35 and cuts back over the 40 and about the 43. Ball's loose. Riders say they have it.
A start on the opening kickoff. They get the fumble and they score a little later on thanks to pass interference. Jack Cohn jumps in to give them a 7-0 lead. Winnipeg would come right back though. Zach Caleros, he finds Ontario Wilson for the touchdown. It is now 10-10 late in the first quarter. We'll have the full highlights tonight. Well, the headliner has been announced for this year's Grey Cup halftime show in Winnipeg.
It sounds cliche, but tell me, would you wait for me? Baby, I'm a rolling stone.
MGK, that's Machine Gun Kelly, will perform at the Grey Cup halftime show in Winnipeg. The singer said after the announcement, Canada has some of the best fans and he's excited to watch some epic Canadian football. The Grey Cup is set for Sunday, November 16th. Canadian band Our Lady Peace will open things up with a performance before the game. WHL, the Regina Pats head up north to play one of the top teams in the East so far this season.
Rudolph for the Raiders. Right wing circle. Boychuk across and they score.
Prince Albert Raiders have lost just once in 7 games, and that defeat was in overtime, earning them at least a point. Pats, meanwhile, have lost back-to-back games against BC opponents and have just 1 win this season. Puck drop is 7 o'clock up in Prince Albert. Meanwhile, Moose Jaw Warriors, they're going to travel north to face the Saskatoon Blades. Saskatoon has won 5 straight, led by goaltender Evan Gardner, has a goals against average of 1.56. Warriors coming off a heartbreaking loss after leading 4-0 against Kamloops. Game time is 7 o'clock at the SaskTel Center. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays are 2 wins away from their biggest stage in baseball after a remarkable comeback in Seattle. With a win today over the Mariners, Toronto can take the series lead back home, and they are leading right now 2-1 in the 8th inning. So it's close, but it's looking good. As CTV's Andrew Johnson shows us, the Canadian fans who splurged to see it all go down in person are on a trip of a lifetime.
On a fall Pacific Northwest day that started gloomy and gray, Blue Jays fans in Seattle are feeling anything but.
It was great. It was great. Fantastic. You know, you can't believe it.
Corey and Danielle Brandvold bought tickets to all 3 games in Seattle, then drove 18 hours from Weyburn, Saskatchewan, taking a leap of faith the team could turn things around.
Awesome. Packed house and everybody's friendly.
Seattle fans have been great.
It's an out-of-town playoff experience that also drew Aaron Wittstock to cross the border.
Down here is great. I might have been afraid to go down to New York. I think it's a little scarier down there, but Seattle's always been great. It's a great town, so happy to come down.
The team they love is putting together a remarkable comeback, arriving in Washington State down 2-0 and now in position to take the series lead. For these fans, seeing it happen in person is close to priceless. Would you pay for your seats?
Oh man, a couple $100 USD, which is like $500 Canadian. Worth it? Yeah, absolutely. Worth every penny.
There may be more Canadians in the crowd today because after the Jays' 2 straight wins here, ticket prices online are dropping. Some now as low as $200 Canadian, what many would consider a bargain this far into the postseason.
A season of destiny, according to these fans. Is this a World Series team?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, bring on the Dodgers.
Yes, definitely. Either with these 2 teams. Whoever wins the series is going to take the World Series.
No matter what happens now, the ALCS will be decided back in Toronto. The chance for a do-over after the team stumbled to start the series at Rogers Centre. They could now write the ending fans are so desperately waiting for. Andrew Johnson, CTV News, Seattle.
Coming up, a Yorkton dealership donates a portion of used car purchases to a local organization.
Time for a look at your rural forecast. It's been overall a pretty good start to the weekend for most of southern Saskatchewan. That is going to continue into tomorrow with most highs in the double digits. One exception, Hudson Bay, where a little bit of rainfall lingers around. Let's hop out of the way so you can take a better look. Looking at 12 across the board for Meadow Lake, Lloydminster, and Kindersley. Nice and sunny along the western edge of the province. Spiritwood and Watrous a little bit cooler at 11, but still nice and sunny. And then 10 for Melfort and Wynyard, as mentioned, Hudson Bay at 7 tomorrow. As for the southern portion of the province, Kenora at 9 degrees for the high, 10 for Pilot Butte, Broadview, Lumsden, as well as Rock Glen and East End Cypress down in the southwest. Mostly sunny for the majority of those regions. 12 in Rosetown, Leader, and Maple Creek. Same goes for Coronach and Carlisle in the southeast, hitting 11 tomorrow, as is Assiniboia. Let's take a look at Watson, where internet speeds of up to 1 gigabyte are available through SaskTel. In Watson tomorrow, going to be a high of 10 degrees. Winds out of the west between 30 and 60 kilometers per hour expected. So if you have anything in your yard in Watson that you don't want to end up in your neighbor's yard, tomorrow might be a good day to put that away.
The Soup Haven received a generous donation today from local car dealerships in Yorkton that are helping children in need. The Soup Haven in Yorkton provides bagged lunches for children in schools. The program director said they noticed an increase in people needing the service due to the rising cost of living. The charity just completed a food drive through local schools, but is always looking for donations. The local dealerships offered to donate $250 to the Soup Haven after every used vehicle sold at one of their dealerships between October 1 and 12. And on Friday, they sent them a check for $4,250, which will go towards providing nutritious meals and a welcoming space for families.
Like the local community supported the Key Auto Group throughout the years, and we just feel it's really important to give back to everyone and help everyone out, especially during the Thanksgiving season.
The Soup Haven accepts both cash and food donations from residents and, of course, businesses. And also in Yorkton today, brave kids were recognized who are giving back to their community. Just before school was over for the week, the city hosted the CAA School Safety Patrol installation ceremony for students from St. Paul's School. Being a patroller is a demanding task. After training, they must show up on time, stay focused, and, of course, be dependable. The young safety patrollers make sure their peers are safe on crosswalks near their school. They do it using stop signs, whistles, and vests, come rain or shine. They made a pledge in front of the mayor, promising to stay safe and keep their friends safe and not to abuse those stop signs as well. They received a certificate and a gift bag.
I just had to wear a vest and make sure there was no cars, and then our class would go to the other side of the sidewalk.
I recommend this because it helps keep children safe and it prevents accidents.
The ceremony was first held in 2022 and is an important event for these young patrollers. All right, let's take a look at the stock market to end the week. The TSX dropped by 350 points, while the Dow Jones went up by 238 points. Canadian dollar, it went almost up 0.2 to 71.36 cents U.S. Commodities, gold down $74.75. West Texas Intermediate crude up 16 cents, while Western Canadian Select crude dropped by $1. So gas here in Regina dropping again. It is now sitting at $1.26.9 per liter.
Scotiabank hasn't shared how many people it's laying off, but jobs are being lost across its banking unit. The head of the bank's Canadian operation says today marks an inflection point in the company's quest to build a better, more profitable bank. 2 years ago, the bank cut 3% of its global workforce before embarking on a restructuring plan. Interfor cutting back production. The company produces lumber. The U.S. recently imposed a new 10% tariff on Canadian lumber headed to the U.S. Interfor says in the face of ongoing uncertainty, it's slashing output by about 25% at its Canadian and American operations. After reaching another high on Thursday, the price of gold started dropping today. And by the end of the day, mining stocks were the worst performers on the TSX, many of them dropping more than 10%. Spot gold ended the week still above $4,200 U.S. an ounce. Those are your business headlines. I'm Marilla Fernandez.
Coming up tonight after the newscast, Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, brought to you by Special Forces, World's Toughest Test, at 8 o'clock. Boston Blue. It's kind of a spin-up of Blue Bloods.
Oh,
New York is in
okay.
Boston. Yeah.
Yeah. Look at that. All the shows getting spin-offs in different cities.
Yeah. Wahlberg is leading up that one, his character from, Anyway.
Really?
Yes, some resourceful rescuers had to get creative in their attempts to retrieve a kitten that was stuck in a storm drain.
When they realized they couldn't fit inside, they used a remote-controlled car in order to help get the job done. They say they sent the RC car down the drain, guiding the kitten into the arms of a rescuer on the other side. Now, that's an ingenious way to get that done. You know, it'd make use of what you have, right?
Yeah, you got to find something to lead them out, so.
That's right.
Safe and sound.
Well, for one Boston man, it was the find of a lifetime, a rare baseball card collection. And get this, he paid less than $100 for the cards, which are worth thousands.
Yeah, Tom Conrad came across a baseball
Everything
card collection.
From Cy Young
hello.
to Christy Mathewson, John McGraw, all bunch of Hall of Famers on there. It's just kind of...
That's right. The collection from the early 1900s. The cards came from an estate sold at an old house in Rhode Island. Tom spotted them on a Facebook marketplace for just $75. The former owner glued the cards to the inside of this wooden chest. Among some of the best finds in the collection, a 1909 Cy Young card that is estimated to be worth $2,000 on its own. Tom Conrad is currently auctioning off the cards on Facebook. The top bids sitting at $6,700.
Wow.
You like CADs?
I do.
$6,700 worth of them?
Well, maybe not that much.
Have a good weekend, everyone.
Take care.